So welcome to Tara Bella. Welcome to Tara Bella. And so Kevin and I have been here for only a few months, and I want you to meet our friends, Rich and Tara Minnick. We've known Rich and Tara for about, I don't know, maybe a dozen years, something like that. Sure. And we would come out here all the time and taste their wine. And Kevin and I have been making wine for 25 years, and we would come out here, and Kevin, we would leave. Every time we would leave, we'd go, and Kevin goes, oh, if we could just have a cute little place like this someday. So be careful what you wish for. And,
I was just saying, Rich is living my dream.
Yeah. And then Tara was at the house one day, and she said, you know, we're selling the winery, and it was like one of those. And that was a Friday night, June 22nd, I remember exactly. And Saturday, June 23rd, we were out here, and we started the process.
I know.
Wow. And we closed escrow in September, and we just moved into their cute little house, our cute little house, in November. And so we love you guys.
Yeah.
We love them. And so they've been helping us. Kevin has, you know, we've been making wine for a long time, but Rich is really helping Kevin with how the vineyard works. Although they have really similar winemaking styles. Yeah. Really kind of hands-on, old world, and we cherish them and adore them. And Tara is helping me with a lot of the wine club and our compliance and all the holding my hand when I'm like melting down and crying and stuff. Like, what have we done? But it's been great.
That all happens when I'm not here.
And it's been raining every day since we got here. It's been really crazy. So.
Well, you know, I knew that you were going to be successful because I farmed for like 15 years in southwest Wisconsin. And Kevin, of course, is from Wisconsin, and he grew up on a dairy farm. So I thought any dairyman from Wisconsin surely could grow some wine grapes. So it's great to turn it over to a fellow like this, and who has the ambition and the drive
That's great.
and the youth to take on this. But you're in a great spot. Sonoma County is probably is equally really the premium growing region for the United States. And Tara's label is known quite well, and we're just so happy to have you guys continue that and not change the label and keep the Tara Bella.
Oh yeah, well, you know,
It's there forever.
People ask it, they go, "What are you going to change anything?" Why would we change it? It's like we're not changing the label, we're not changing the name, we're not changing the yeast. We're not changing anything, really, except the 2 dogs. That's about it.
2 dogs.
And now you live in the house.
And we live in the house. But I mean, as far as the wine goes and the name recognition, it's a beautiful product. They've developed a really loyal wine club, and it's been really great to work with them and partner with them.
Well, the story behind the wine club, and I'll tell it, and you can fix it later. But they entered their Cabernet in the San Francisco International Wine Competition in 2002, and they won the only double gold issued to Napa Valley Cabernet.
Right.
And at the time, that event was sponsored by Bon Appetit magazine. So Bon Appetit asked them to come back to an event in New York City and pour at the event. Okay, now,
is that correct, or was that the okay?
Now Tara's from a tiny little town in Texas, and Rich is from a tiny little town in Missouri, and neither one of them had been to New York, and they were afraid to go.
That's true.
That's a big mug.
Yeah. We were.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think it was Rich that had this vision or something that they should go. Well, they went back there and they poured the wines, and make a long story short, CNN was covering the event. And one of the directors fell in love with Rich and Tara and the wines, and 2 weeks later they're out here filming them, doing the picking, the crushing, the stabbing, the pressing, the whole deal.
Wow.
And they ended up getting a 5-minute piece on CNN, and they showed it twice in one night. And their wine club went from this tiny little wine club to a great big wine club.
Yeah.
Small boutique winery becomes famous.
Right.
Well, and part of that story was the guy. There was another fellow pouring next to you, and he said they were talking to him, said he had a boutique winery, and yes, they made under 50,000 cases.
That's all.
You know, 49,999, right? And then they talked to Rich and Tara, and they said, well, yeah, we're a boutique winery. And they said, how much do you make? And they said, well, we make 300 cases. So.
Well, I said we made 99 cases of this.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
he didn't say boutique one more time.
Yeah. But then that was just this one vineyard over here, the reserve vineyard. And so
Right.
that's when you came back and all the wine was gone because it
Yes.
all went to this newly expanded wine club. And that's when they planted the second estate vineyard over here in '05.
We had to increase our production.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blessing, the Lord really blessed us with that one.
But the estate turned out to be the new vineyard.
Yeah, the new vineyard is probably.
It's turning out to be the premier.
Yeah, it's really
The
good.
premium,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So-
nice.
And Kevin and Wendy's continued with the
Yeah.
product, and they're winning competitions, and I heard you did well in the Chronicle, and you poured in San Francisco.
The estate won a bronze.
In the
That's-
Chronicle,
that's right.
Francisco Chronicle.
And that's a
Fort-
large,
Fort-
that's
Fort
a
Mason.
large competition.
Yeah, there was a lot
Well,
of wineries there.
and the other, I mean, really the '08, the '07 vintage of the estate, I think where you get 60 cases or something like that.
Right.
So the '08 is really the first big release of that vineyard, and it won a bronze medal.
So does it take about 4 or 5 years for a vine from the time you?
The time you plant it, yeah, it's about 5 years before you get much of a product.
Uh-huh.
And then after about 5 years, then you'll kind of max out between 5 and 7 years.
That's what I was saying.
But this property, I think, well, in the '09, what is it, about 900?
900
Well,
cases.
It's about 900 cases, yeah. So
Woohoo!
it's sizable,
So
yeah.
how old is the
Uber
estate
boutique.
vineyard?
Let me see, the
We
estate.
planted that in
05.
05.
So that's
Okay.
6 years.
6 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reserve we planted in 1998.
Yeah, and what's nice is like when you first plant, and you start to have like maybe your 5th or so year, you start to have more production, but your fruit still isn't like super
Right.
developed. And then you can start getting up into like your 10 years. Now you've got a really good character on your fruit and good production. And then as the vine gets older, and like, a lot of vineyards will pull their vines out in about 30 years and start rotating in new vines because they start to drop in production. But you start getting a vine that's 50, 60, 80 years old.
Is that
You
what
get,
you call them, old vines?
yeah, you
Old
bet.
vine,
And
Is
you
that
get
why I like old vines in?
Yeah,
Old vines.
and the reason is because the production drops, but the character on the fruit is just like amazing. Kevin and I made a Petite Syrah from vines out at Fieldstone. We took a sweepstakes award at the Harvest Fair it was a 98, it was a 96, it took the award in 98, and that was from 105-year-old vines 15 years ago, and they're still picking.
Is that unusual for a winery to get gold medals like
Well,
that?
yes.
over?
I think
That
consistently, yes.
the only winery that
consecutively, and that
specializes in
consistently, that tells you that
Most
that
of the people
vineyard,
that produce
and
the Russian
that's
Cab
because
wine, Hillsbury.
it's totally made off of this vineyard.
But
A lot of people purchase grapes,
Uh-huh.
and so they have no control over how they're grown.
Oh, yours are all grown
And
here.
so they're all grown here, they're all grown the same way, and I think that's why it's been so consistent.
Because
Yeah.
you got 12 within what length of time?
We actually
gold.
got 14 gold medals.
From 1995 on, or has it been
Our
more
first
recent?
vintage was 1997.
Big fruit.
Yeah,
Right.
so
And
I would say in a 10-year
but the
period.
cats turned